Hello students of class 6. Today we are going to do the poem Weaver, and this is the last poem in your first unit syllabus. Let me explain, just remind you about the first unit syllabus. We have the poem El Dorado, then we have the Robinson Crusoe story and this Weaver. Now this Weaver, and underneath I've written anonymous. Why anonymous? Because we don't know who the poet is, and when we don't know the the author or the poet, we generally write anonymous. Now this though we don't know the name of the poet, but when we read the poem, what we can understand is that it is a poem that has been written long ago. How do we understand that? Because some of the words that has been used in the poem are kind of Old English. Means not kind of, but they are Old English, because we don't use this kind of English any longer. And whenever you see the word weaver, the picture that comes to your mind could be, a person stitching something, or maybe weaver, weaving by the hand. Like I don't know whether you have seen it ever or not, because I have seen a person literally in front of the loom and stitching a tat sari. Okay, so but here this particular weaver, it's not about any weaver as such in that way. It is a poem about life, okay, and how God creates how God gives us joy and sorrow in life, and why He gives it, all these things. So in a word, this is a poem about life. So before I go on to the explanation of it, let me read out the poem to you. Weaver. My life is but a weaving between my God and me. I do not choose the colors, He worketh steadily. Oft times He weaveth sorrow, and I, in foolish pride, forget He sees the upper, and I the underside. Not till the loom is silent and the shuttle cease to fly will God unroll the canvas and explain the reason why. The dark threads are as needful in the skillful weaver's hand as threads of gold and silver in the pattern he has planned. He knows, He loves, He cares. Nothing this truth can dim. He gives His very best to those who leave the choice with Him. So, in the very first line, we can understand it is a poem about life. Because what does it say? My life is but a weaving between my God and me. So, what can we say? Between my God and me, life is a weaving. That is, even our life, just as a cloth is woven, in the same way, our life is also woven by God. In other words, God is the designer of our life, is the weaver of our life. So here weaver refers to God. I do not choose the colors, he worketh steadily. Steadily in the sense very confidently. Okay. Um, it means I do not choose the colors, he worketh steadily. That is, I have no no control, means whether I will face happiness or whether I will face difficulties, that is sorrow, is all in the hands of God. Because before I came into this earth, God had already planned a life for me. And it is only, whatever happens in to my life when I come on this earth, everything is the wish of God. That's why that's why the poet says, but I do not choose the colors. Colors here means the situations, the events, whatever happens in our life. So God is the sole owner of it. Means sole owner in the sense, God only knows about my life. I don't know anything. I don't have the choice to pick and choose joy or sorrow in my life. It is all what God has destined for me, planned for me. Oft times means very often. He weaveth sorrow. That is, he weaveth means, weaveth, oft time, worketh. All these are old English. We don't use such English now. Oft times he weaveth sorrow. That is, very often we face sorrow. We face difficulties in our life. And I, in foolish pride, forget he sees the upper and I the underside. That is, if you say, suppose if you take a cloth, okay, where some embroidery has been done. If you look at the the front side of that design, it will look very beautiful, because the the pattern has been stitched beautifully. But if you just turn it around and if you see the other side of it, what you will find is that some loose threads, some knots. So our life is also something like that. What the poet is trying to say is that very often God puts us in such situations where we face difficulties. And when we face difficulties, we get so frustrated, so disappointed, that we think that that phase of life, that those problems, those difficulties are life in itself. That's why he's saying, in foolish pride. Why we as human beings, we think that when such difficult phase come in our life, we think that this is only life for us, because we have a notion, means we think ourselves to be knowing everything. It's a kind of man's pride. He thinks that he knows everything, but he does not know everything. He cannot see the the rest of the life that God has planned for him. Means for that person. So it is kind of that's why the poet says that I see the underside, that is the other side of the cloth, whereas God can see the upper side. That is a beautiful pattern from the front side. So see, I have this. This is a frock actually. See, if you see this front side, it looks so good. Now see, it's the underside. See here, the tag is there. You can see the stitches over here. So this side doesn't look that beautiful as this side. Okay, our life, though, when we face sorrows, what we see is the underside and not the upper side. This can be seen only by God because He has only created it. Now, what does He say then? Not till the loom is silent. Loom means the weaver's loom. Okay, the machine. And the shuttle ceased to fly. Shuttle, the meaning is given. See, loom also the meaning is given. Hand operated machine for weaving thread into cloth. Now I have seen a loom, and I have seen a weaver weaving out a sari, as I said, a tat sari. So I can exactly visualize, how the shuttles are flying. And the shuttle ceased to fly. Shuttles are a device in weaving that holds the the weft thread, that is the horizontal. It's kind of this way, and used to pass it between the warp threads. That is, the machine is designed in such a way that the threads are placed longitudinally, and there is a the shuttles move up and down, and there's a kind of a rod which you have to pull it once this side and that once towards your left and then towards your right and left. In this way you weave it, and gradually it gets converted into a cloth from the threads. So what the poet means in these two lines: not till the loom is silent. Loom is silent. And when does the loom become completely silent? When the cloth is done, when the weaver has woven it fully, and the shuttle ceased to fly. Shuttles, it's the long beams which go on and off. Now if I could have shown you a picture of a machine, it would be means this loom, then you could have understood that. Will God unroll the canvas and explain the reason why? Here canvas means the whole life itself. So shuttle ceased to fly. That is, he is saying that just as the loom becomes silent and the shuttle ceased to fly, in the same way, only when a person is dead, will God explain to his means to the person's soul, why means why the person means explain the reason why the person faced this joy and sorrow in his life. Means why it was all sorrow for a particular time, and why it was why he had given happiness in that way. It is only after the death of the person can the canvas, means the whole life of the person, can be seen. Classics, we stop here today. We'll discuss the next part of the poem on the next day. Thank you.